Outer Orange.
Yes, yeah, welcome back to another video. OuterOrange here today. So we are going over set 4 of Shadowverse. It is about to drop, I believe, on our side like a day or two or so, but actually by the time you get this video it might already be out. But long story short, I wanted to go over you guys set 4. I'm using Deck Stander's blog today because he actually has a lot some winning lists here, and I thought it'd be a good place to kind of talk about this. Like, you might, these are Japanese lists, and they do, I believe, have UMA still unrestricted on their side, but it's okay, it'll go away. But I wanted to kind of just go over a couple of things. Like, granted, I don't remember all the card names, they're in Japanese, but I do know some of them. I want to kind of go over them. We're just going to go through the crafts real quick and just kind of see what's going on the JP side. The Elephant combo for Forest, very popular deck. This is one of the decks people are definitely anticipating and are very scared of. And basically what you do in this deck is you just go for the Elephant. You just basically burn your opponent with the Silver Bolt and then finish off with this Elephant guy who basically bounces the board, and for every card in your hand he gets power and attack, and he can, I believe, attack at the same turn as well. So he goes kind of crazy, kind of a crazy dude here. And you basically just set up a turtle to that point. You want to heal yourself and just basically get a bunch of setup, a bunch of bouncing, a bunch of calling. You combo off a little bit here and there, and just pop off with the Elephant and just go crazy. So very awesome, cool card. And yeah, this is basically what the Elephant combo decks are looking like. If you guys need more, here's some more lists of basically what this is looking like. For the most part, people are running similar stuff. There's a couple different techs people run that they kind of change up a little bit here and there, but overall, you guys, I like the Rose Deer tech. Actually, I like the Rose Thorns. And let's look at one more list here just to give you guys some ideas of basically what this is going to be looking like for set 4 for us. Next, we have this just regular Silver Bolt, so you could still just say screw the Elephant or kind of lower on the Elephant and just kind of go for the Silver Bolt like approach with the Crystalias, the Crystalia cards. This is another kind of approach you can take if you want to go down that road. I think Forest is really hard to play, so it's always interesting to see like all these different types of things that people kind of approach that people go for. So here's another list. This is like a combo tempo deck from the looks of it. They are running this guy, which is very different from most lists. I don't know what that card does, to be honest with you, but I am familiar with this card and a couple of the other cards in here. Obviously the heal UMA card, and then also the stack the card on top card. This card's actually really nuts. The things you can do, you can kind of force your opponent to lose a turn depending on what you put on top, because they'll be drawing that card. Something that some of my Shadowverse players that I've been talking to have been teaching me, and I'm like, dang, that's kind of cool. So there's that. And then we also have Fable. Fable basically runs the Fable package as you would expect it to. So it has the Alice approach in it with the Fable counters. To be honest, I don't know exactly how this deck works in terms of Forest. I'm very familiar with an egg, but this one I'm a little bit less familiar with what your game plan is. I believe this is the Beauty and the Beast card right here as well. And yeah, basically here's a Fable list. Let's look at the other Fable list just so we can see another version of it. So this one runs the egg actually, but this is oh, this is Haven. Oh, it's not Haven. Sorry, it's not Haven. But yeah, here's with the egg combination Fable list. So I guess you're just going for the burn, a little bit of that burn approach while also still playing a regular Forest plan. And then you run the Beauty and the Beast engine with it as well. So that's also pretty cool. Definitely different. I would actually, if I wanted to try, I would not be against trying this list, but I hear Elephant is just a little bit stronger. Let's go over to Sword. We still have Heroic. All right, I can't open up some of the lists, unfortunately, but here's Sword with the Heroic package. If I remember correctly, this list hasn't changed a lot. I think there's just one additional card you add into your list, and you just basically run that card, and then everything else is basically the same in terms of how you play the deck. You just have another Heroic card to have access to that's actually pretty good, and then yeah, you just play Sword. You do Sword stuff. There's also the Round Table approach, which I'm not too familiar with what the difference is between this deck and like what a Heroic approach is, but I think it just has to do with running the, I'm assuming, the card that's literally called Round Table, and you just play for the Round Table. But also just really good stuff. I'll give you guys one more list here. Another version of the list. Seems very interesting. I originally played Sword when I first started Shadowverse. This is back in set 1. I kind of skipped a couple sets and didn't play, and I was really enjoying it, but then I found that there's some games that just I don't know, there's just the deck feels a little linear sometimes, but there's only certain things you're kind of going into, and you just have to hope your opponent doesn't open certain outs. But here's another version of that. Go over to Runecraft. So Spell Chain is really strong. Spell Chain, you're basically playing for the Chimera. Chimera basically says after a certain amount of our spells in your drop, you just do like 30 damage. It's very brutal. You will basically combo it off with the Dorian. The Dorian for late game. It's like a super late game setup. Once you have this and you evolve, you basically win the game. There's like a certain point. You're basically on a timer against this deck. Like, you need to just win before they get to this point. If you don't, you lose. They usually try to not, they can also brick out if they just see this card too early. They can kind of screw themselves, but that's why you run cards like Ring to kind of get it back and try to keep it at the bottom as much as possible. Ideally, Ring is a good way to set this card up, put it to the bottom, and you never see it again. Then you know you're going to hit it in the later part of the game, right? But overall, just a really cool Really cool deck. You just basically play a bunch of spells. You run the Uma cards to get you to those spells closer, and Merlin and stuff like that. And it's just overall really cool deck. I like. We have Ginger Control. I have no clue what this is because I just don't play Runecraft at all. Like, this is the craft I definitely know the least about, but I do see this card here. This card's really, really cool. I like the way this plays. I've also been seeing a lot of people are running the Goblin Girl. I think it's like Goblin Queen or something. Just another really cool card. And then next that's basically all we have for that. We have Dragoncrafts. Dragoncrafts, there's a bunch of approaches. There's like the regular approach. Dragoncraft is another craft I'm not too familiar with, but I'll give you guys some lists here. I know about Discard Dragon. I know too much about the regular dragon, but I just know it's like Forte plus cards. Basically, Forte, Ramp, and other cards that you just want to run to get yourself wherever you're going. If I remember correctly, I think this card is put to 1 in Japan. I don't remember when that happened exactly, but I think this card's at 1 over there. I don't know if we have the same restriction because I just don't play Dragon. I just don't know. Also running the 10-10 girl in here as well. This card's pretty high on that scale. And then also running, this is one of the newer cards. And like I said, I'm not too familiar with Dragon, so y'all can kind of give me a little bit more information. I do know Discard Dragon though. Also, some people play for that one Carrot Girl, and that carrot, the one that you like brace 3 times. That thing is disgusting, by the way. That's a nasty card once I see that card. But yeah, here's another dragon list, and then that's the Discard Dragon version. Here's another variation of it. Running the new girl, she's also like really good in the. I hear she's really good in the list. Obviously, running the discard part to kind of keep yourself going with this card, and yeah, just overall a really interesting deck. I actually do like the way Discard Dragon works. I just don't play Discard Dragon. Now, PDK, I'm not gonna lie, I have no idea what PDK means. You guys can tell me in the comments below. Those who actually play Dragon can tell me what in the world PDK means. I'm assuming it's like a new dude you play. I don't know. Is it this guy? Like, I don't know. It's one of these cards is a PDK, right? It has to be, unless there's like some kind of thing that stands for PDK that I don't know about. Maybe it's this. I don't know, this looks new. This looks new. I'm not too sure. Something has to be different, right? But that's Dragoncraft. Let's look at Abysscraft. So Abysscraft has a few different variations of it. You have the Sanguine approach, which is just the self-damaging kind of approach. I am not as familiar with this one, but I knew. Oh no, this is the Crimson. I like the Crimson build. This is the build I was thinking about building. I like this aggro that you can go with it. I also just I actually know what I'm looking at. Holy crap, that's insane. After going from 2 crafts I didn't know, I'm looking at crafts I do know. So this card's really nuts. You get to just aggro your opponent, and this card's so. This has Bane, and such a great card. And then obviously the Servius really helps with the PP, Popo, Momo. I don't know their names, but I know what they do. And then this card's insane. I love this card so much. But then you got some early aggro here and some self-damaging stuff, which is what you want to do. A lot of people are running this Goblin chick. I've been noticing a lot of people are running her. She does search you out cards, which is really cool. So yeah, just another approach. And then we do have Necrocharge, which is basically just your drop. So your drop just gets bigger and bigger, and then you do stuff based off of it. Another good approach. This one is without the Crimson, if I'm mistaken. It runs more for this card. I don't remember what this card is, but wherever that card is, the Lelouch card. But you play for basically for that Lelouch card instead, which is also just really cool. And then we have another one right here. This guy. I was trying to remember. I was like, what's the different, like the other version of him? But yeah, you play for this dude basically. Also, I really like Azazel. Card's nuts. Just putting your opponent to 10 is just so funny, especially if they're healing a lot. There's also Fallen Angel, which is a very not popular archetype, I would say. You play for the neutrals here. I hear it's not very good, but I'm pretty sure, I don't remember correctly. I think she's a Fallen Angel too, but I could be wrong about that. I don't remember precisely. I do know these cards. I know this card is. I don't know about the other Fallen Angels. There's also like the really pretty looking one. It's like, I think it's like a 7-drop or something. It's not in this list, but there's another version. But it's still really cool to see. There's actually 2 Fallen Angels list, which is actually really interesting. I wasn't expecting that, but yeah, let's see. I'm assuming it has to be, this card has to be a Fallen Angel. Oh, this is the card I was thinking of. So I know about this card and then the one. I don't know if this is Fallen Angel or not, but maybe it is. I don't know, but and I don't know how good or impactful it is, but I don't even remember exactly what they do. But hey, maybe they do something cool. I don't know. Maybe there's something I'm missing out. It's an Abyss for a reason. Then there's Haven, probably my favorite craft right now by far, because we got the egg. The egg is absolutely just so disgusting. Now that I'm starting to understand the game more, I'm starting to just understand how strong this deck is. This deck is running the Falcon, which is really cool. Just another different approach. I will say the Falcon's a little weird, or it can be a little weird, but it's still just really cool to see. And then otherwise everything else is, I think we're missing something. Oh, they're also running the bunny. It looks like we're missing a card or two in here, at least because it's being blocked off. But there's that approach. I am not the biggest fan of that approach. This one's very hard to see what's going on, but just to give you guys a gist, they're running the neutral girl in here, and then everything else is pretty standard aside from this. I actually don't know what this card is. But we got the egg. I believe this is the one that calls the Falcon, the little Falcon, the token out, and then, oh god, what is that? Like it barely. Oh, that's the one that like pops itself and draws up. But you pop something, draw a card, and I believe give 3 to your leader. I believe that's what this card is. But we got the rabbit in here, got the egg, Alice, Tin Soldier, of course, the rabbit girl searcher thing, and then we got the falcon dude. We are running. This one's running the lion in here. The lion's also interesting. I've been thinking about putting lion in, but I'm not 100% sure. This neutral I'm kind of iffy about. I feel like you might as well run Rapunzel instead. Rapunzel feels a little cleaner, but maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm just a weird one. Maybe I'm the bad player. I don't know. I'm just assuming it's me because I just am a little less familiar with Shadowverse, obviously. Next we have this kind of variation. I do like, I think this is interesting. I do say sometimes the draw feels very, it goes against you. So the draw cards can just go against you. This is the Dark Jean is pretty cool. I like the Dark Jean approach, and obviously running the Falcon dude. Everything else is pretty standard. Yeah, this is the card I was thinking of for the other card, but I'm not exactly sure if that was the card. But also this new card is really good. This is one that says your stuff doesn't get killed, which is very useful, which is actually why the draws are a little bit better now, because you can discard your hand, but at least you won't lose your board, so you can kind of call board first and then discard your hand, and then you won't actually lose your units off of when you egg. So that's also just a really cool approach. So then there's this variation, which I think is probably one of my more favorite lists. I like this. Oh, this is probably one of my more favorite lists, including, you know, the new stuff, because you have the Dark Jean in here, got a little bit of that searcher, got the new card, the one that gives the ability to not target stuff on your side, and then you also just have the regular, very to the point, like egg package. It's basically the set 3 egg with a couple cards different, and I actually kind of like this better because I think what the deck was already doing was fine. You don't need to change it that much or that drastically unless you're really playing into something very specific, or you feel like there's a certain meta that you 100% know is going to exist and you need to put certain cards in. I feel like otherwise you could just play like the normal deck and be okay. But I really like that list. Next we have mid-range, which is just Haven mid-range basically. This one just runs for this, probably runs for this. Actually, they only run one in here. They're playing for this girl, which is I believe one of the newer chicks, if I'm not mistaken. I don't remember. I think she's newer. Anyway, the Dark Jean. This card's actually really good at degree. This says basically deal 5 to everything, or no, it says just kill everything. Kill everything on your opposed side. Doesn't matter what it is or what it does, just kill it. Which is really cool. And I think you can't kill cards like this or Forte, but hey, it kills everything else. And yeah, this card's pretty interesting. Then running the Kaguya. This deck has a lot of one-os in it. That's so interesting. How are they getting into all these cards? But otherwise, really cool list. I'm kind of iffy about this card. The 4 on this is very painful, but pretty at least. And then we're running the Jean and some boardy stuff, and yeah, just an interesting list. I'm starting to like this card more. My friends been showing this card. I'm kind of like, okay, I see it better in a list like this than egg, but like but I understand. And then we have a amulet heal deck. So this is just running for the amulets to just heal yourself a ton of times. Is what I'm assuming they're going for. I believe one of these, or one of the cards, searches for actually I think a lot of them search for the amulets and you just kind of place them, heal yourself up with this card basically, and then you end the game on this guy. So basically this card says heal 10, and then you get 2 cards, put in the EX area, and they cost 0, and then you just go into this dude and just like sit there like a big stone wall, and your opponent just can't do anything about it, because this card's very hard to play around, similar to Forte. It's extremely hard to get around this card. So this is building for the big dude. You build for the big dude here, and then this should be very similar, also building. Oh, it's the same dude, same person playing the same deck. So there's another. I like how it's. Oh no, there's the other one. Why is it all random? What is going on right now? Why is there an egg is here, an egg is here, an egg is here? I'm done with this list. I don't want to look at it anymore. And after that, we just have Ward Haven, which is pretty. Usually when people think about Haven, they think about Ward Haven first, or they think about healing over like more aggro versions of Haven. So this makes sense to me. So just a bunch of warding. I don't know what else this deck does because I haven't played like earlier Haven. I'm just familiar with egg, and egg is just so different from like regular Haven. Next we have a bunch of Uma, mainly Uma Pure. What is seeing here. So this is just some Uma list. Now keep in mind, I believe they don't have the restriction. I don't remember what the card is that got restricted with this card, with this deck. I think it's this card that got put to 1 or something. I don't remember. But here's some Uma lists, and if you're like, oh, it has the ban list, well, I don't know, then just take the cards out that are getting banned and put other cards in. If you're already playing on the American side, you should already have a list for these. To be honest, I feel like this deck has been basically, people know what to play and how to figure this deck out at this point. It's been out for long enough, but I'm just kind of giving you guys some lists to work with there. Yeah, so that's all the lists. I just kind of wanted to go over with them with you. I thought it'd be cool. It's kind of like a learning experience for me, and maybe a learning experience for you if you need it. I'm still a little new to the game, like meaning like obviously I don't know everything that's going on. I'm most familiar with Haven and Abyss probably. If I had to pick 2 crafts, I know Forest pretty decently, but I don't know how to combo in Forest as well. So I don't know how to play the deck. I know what the cards do though. So there's that. But anyway, there's a bunch of lists here. Shout out to Dexander for basically providing something like this. And by the way, if you're curious about future sets, he does also have a ton of all the future stuff too. So You know, here's set 9, set 8, set 7, set this is one of the collabs, and then set 6, 5, you know, a bunch of stuff in here. If you want to look at older sets, you can look at older sets too. They're all in here. So if you're curious about what the future meta might be looking like, you can start looking at lists. So with that, guys, thanks for watching this video. If the cards shop put orange, he does do Shadowverse Evolve cards as well. So you can use my code and grab yourself some stuff they may need. He's been doing a lot of random bundles and stuff for people and all the kind of stuff that you can check out. So yeah, on there, guys, peace out. Das vidania. See you guys in a future video. Bye.